want one last trip to the long trail?
Hello again, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about some Tekken comics. Now, this comic was kind of scrambled. I kind of just pulled these pictures from Google Images, roughly about 80 or so pictures, and at first it didn't really look like a story, but then I kind of put it together and now I have it in order. It took me about 30-40 minutes to put them in order roughly. Some may be out of order, but it's the best that I can do with, just pulling pictures off of Google Images. But the reason why I did that is because I want to compare the comic story to the stories that we get in the video games. Something that I thought was very interesting about the comics. If you guys seen the video I did the other day, it was about Angel and what happened to her. I was talking a little bit about the comics, but something that I noticed in the comics is a lot more characters show up, and the plot, the story is a lot more complex and just overall better than what we get in the games. And so I'm gonna look at these comics and see how maybe this story can translate to Tekken 8, because inside this comic there is a lot of good things that I want to point out, and it's just like, if we could get this level of story in a video game, it would be phenomenal. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start. Like I said, there's about 80 pictures, or I'll say 60 pictures that I found and put together, put in order. But the first one starts off with Nina standing on this rooftop, and she's following Xiao Yu and Panda. Now, as we see in the next screen, Xiao Yu and Panda all of a sudden gets chased by some car. Some car runs them down and pins them in a alley. The next scene, we see that Nina is also in the alley, so they kind of trapped her inside the alley, and Nina has a picture of like Jin, like a hologram of Jin, and she's showing them like, let's see what it says. It says, "Really, you're going to be this boring? Let me jog your memory. Jin Kazama, former head of the Mishima Zaibatsu, declared war on the entire planet and currently missing. Ring any bells?" So she's kind of tracking down Xiao Yu to try to find Jin, is what it looks like, right? And some homeless bum comes walking up behind them, bottle in hand, some like rag, blanket, or whatever that is, stumbling up, right? As we look to the next picture, we see that homeless bum is Paul Phoenix in disguise. Paul Phoenix is coming to rescue. He says, "What's the matter, kid? You don't recognize a rescue when you see one?" Now, out of all the people in the Tekken series to rescue you, Paul Phoenix is up there for the people to rescue. This guy is not only powerful when it comes to gameplay, but story-wise, this guy is powerful. I mean, he's Mishima levels of powerful, right? And then we see Xiao Yu, she starts to fight back. She said, "Who needs rescuing?" She's fighting back. We see the panda getting down back there. When we look to the next scene, Nina comes down from the rooftop and she ambushes Anna. So it's like a ambush went wrong and turned into a double ambush. How do you do that? How do you ambush someone who's just walking down the street, and then you can end up getting ambushed by two people, Paul Phoenix and Nina? That is something, right? But we can see how they're fighting, battling it out, and this is something that I think is very interesting. We have Paul, Xiao Yu, Nina, and Anna all fighting, and Panda. Four characters fighting. In the story, we only usually see one or two, but this is like a four-way battle right here. We have a bunch of Zaibatsu soldiers, shooting and whatnot. Pretty good so far. I don't really have, like I said, these are just images I pulled from the internet, so it skips ahead a little bit. I'm guessing that they won the fight, seeing how they, double jumped Anna and her little soldiers, right? And somehow they all grouped up and they're in this helicopter. They're in this helicopter and they're in the Haida Mountains and they're going to this place. Right now it's kind of unknown what they're doing here. As you can see, Xiao Yu, I just want to know why you've brought me here, right? So it's kind of a mystery. As we see in the next scene, King shows up. And then Xiao Yu attacks him. She tries to attack King, and King dogs on her. Look, he grabs her arm and like throws her. And then what's interesting is Nina breaks up the fight. Nina's like, "We are not here to fight. Like, you guys are not our enemy. We need your help. And in the next scene, if you see, Xiaoyu says, why are we here? All will be explained. And then Xiaoyu looks up and there's Yoshimitsu standing there. Leader of the oh my god. Ooh-wee. And then that's not even the big, that's like the medium reveal, right? You have King, you have Yoshimitsu, and then you have this next person. This next person says, I'm sorry about all the mystery, Xiaoyu. It's so hard to know who to trust these days. In the next scene, basically this is Jin, but it's kind of hard to sort of, like I said, I don't have all the images, but this is Jin right here. So they all meet up, they are talking about like, hey Jin, what's going on? You know, you're being hunted, all these things. We have them flying in a helicopter. We have Yoshimitsu, instead of sitting in the helicopter like a normal person and listening to the conversation, Yoshimitsu is following the helicopter in the helicopter stance. This guy is something else. Now, they land, they get to their destination. I'm guessing this is someone's temple or home or something like that. You have Yoshimitsu landing. The helicopter needs fuel. That's very important right there. The helicopter needs fuel. And I believe what's happening here, Jin is basically going through some problems. Jin is having, problems with the devil gene and keeping the devil form under control. That's what's happening. You can see there at the bottom. And then the next page, they're all talking, they're all sitting, trying to figure out what's happening. Look at this. Xiaoyu says, but why us? Why can't you get it yourself? And then you hear think, 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 this little thing bouncing in. Paul says, and why can't this thing stop scratching? You got fleas, Bear? Panda threw him for saying that. Like, you saying I got fleas? Toss. Nina, she inspects the little thing a little bit further, and it's tracker. It's a G-Corp tracker. You see Jin say it's a G-Corp tracker, and it blows up, and then what a surprise, Kazuya and Anna are there waiting to fight, and they got a bunch of Jack's robots. This is something we've seen in this story too. They throw these Jack robots out like it's nothing, like these are just henchmen. But I like how some of them in the back are flying, not even like jetpacks or anything. They're just like literally just hovering there. Super beast. Then of course they all start fighting. Everyone, Paul is fighting Kazuya. Look like he's fighting some Jack robots. You have Yoshimitsu fighting some robots. Anna and Nina, of course, they got to get their run back for the 1000th time. And what's interesting about this, Jin is all the way on the right side, kind of looking like out of the battle, like he's struggling. He's like not really feeling it, right? And then the Jack's robots start to beating up on him. Target down, prepare for the final blow, right? They're kind of taking advantage of him being in a weakened state. Nina comes in and tries to save him because he's kind of out of it, and Kazuya comes in. Kazuya steps in, hits him, electric upper, look at that, electric upper fist. What's that called? The wind god fist or something like that? And then look at what he says, running from a fight. You are many things, Jin, but a coward is not one of them. So he's kind of talking trash and giving him credit at the same time. But we see he kicks him, punches him, he goes flying across the room. He beats him up a little bit more, right? He's sort of just dogging him. And then Paul tries to step in. Paul is kind of, giving him a little bit of struggle too. But this is the thing about Paul, which is why I was saying that Paul is the one person you want to be saved by. He can hang with the Mishimas. It's just the only thing, when they start using that devil power, that's when he will get outshined. But you see here, Jin, after getting beat up on, he's losing control of the devil gene. I don't know how this fight pans out because like I said, there's only so many pictures I was able to find, but they eventually are retreating. They all run out. You see Xiaoyu is holding Jin. They're just leaving, right? They say, hurry up, will ya? What about the others? What about them? You just worry about the boss man. Paul is a savage. What about them, right? So even though King wasn't shown, King is either in there still fighting or King is back at the other place. But they leave. Nina and Yoshimitsu are the last two. Yoshimitsu, of course, he can fly just like the helicopter. But Nina, she has to run and jump. And if you see at the bottom left there, you see Kazuya and you see Anna down there, like kind of trying to chase them, but they can't really chase a helicopter, so they get away, right? And also something about this picture, some of you guys may have noticed already, but this picture is where I got my icon from. You guys can see I just cropped it, and you know, I used this sort of picture of Yoshimitsu as my icon. But yeah, this picture, when I first seen this, I was like, yeah, this would be dope as like a you know, icon. And that's kind of where my picture for my YouTube and my Xbox comes from, is from this. But continuing on, now this is why I said it's important that you remember that the helicopter needs gas. The helicopter crashes. They use this sort of ball of like energy to protect themselves, but you know, they eventually crash land, and now they're in the jungle somewhere. And what I think is interesting, Nina, she wasn't in the helicopter, she's not in this bubble, and they all crash. But when you see this picture, she's just standing there. Don't worry, I'm here, right? They're all like worried, like, wait, where is she? And then she said, I brought a present for you. Don't say I never give you anything. And it's the robot head of Alyssa. This is kind of interesting that Alyssa got like destroyed right here, but it kind of skips ahead. I don't have all the pictures, but you have Yoshimitsu and Nina searching through the jungle, and they're basically trying to figure out where they're at, and they're looking for this bunker, and they eventually find it, right? And Yoshimitsu's watching Nina's back while they, you know, try to put in the code or whatever, and then Yoshimitsu hears this like crackling in the bushes. It's like in the bushes, right? And then this boy Yoshimitsu, he pulls out the sword to double blades. Who dares ambush the leader of the Manji clan? Oh my god. Ooh-wee. This one picture is the whole reason I'm doing this video. This picture, when I seen this picture, I'm like, this is so dope, because you guys know I main Yoshimitsu, so I'm like a big fan for Yoshimitsu. And when I seen this just like, this is what Yoshimitsu is supposed to be like. His ending and a lot of the characters' ending in Tekken 7 are jokes, right? Eddie's a backup dancer. Gigas and Katarina, they're like, you know, jumping off of buildings and, you know, doing weird stuff. But Yoshimitsu, this is like the Yoshimitsu that I know. This is the Yoshimitsu that I like playing. He pulls out the double swords, and then of course it's just value. She's like, not ambushing, definitely not ambushing. Just thought you and your really big swords might need some help, right? So now they're going into this thing together. They're putting in a code, beep, 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 elevator. They're going down into the layer, right? Now, what's interesting about this, I don't know how Paul and Jen and all the others get down there, but what's interesting is there's a bunch of Alyssas down there. There is a bunch of Alyssas down there, and they all start fighting. You have Paul, you have Zhao Yu, you have Panda. Jin is still walking around like hurt. He's barely doing anything. You can see there at the bottom that the Alyssa is like trying to fight him, and he's just like barely like doing anything, you know. But Yoshimitsu's a beast. Yoshimitsu's a beast. The next few pictures is just them fighting, right? It kind of shows like Mitsuma Taibashu's secret archive, whatever island, right? And they're all just sort of fighting these Alyssas, and it kind of shows how disposable Alyssa is, because they're just like fighting her, beating her down, just destroying her, right? I think Alyssa is no joke even still. Yoshimitsu slices off her head, right? Whoop, head gone. And she kicks her head at Yoshimitsu. She says, killing you will be a fascinating test of my abilities. That is crazy. Just imagine if this was like a story. Just imagine if this was like a Mortal Kombat story where you can play through it, and not like, this would be so dope. There would be no like, this would be the dopest story ever we ever got. Now that's all that I could find for that part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this into 2 videos. This portion of the comic will be one video, and then the next part has to do with Angel, and that will be its own separate video. When I was doing this, I thought they were the same comic, but as I went through it, they weren't the same comic. So I'm going to split it into 2 just to make it more digestible, and just to sort of be able to elaborate on it a little bit more. So hit that like button, subscribe. Part 2 will be coming out tomorrow. And also I have a Angel video, a what happened to Angel. This is a kind of a I want to say a 3-part series, but it's a little bit different and there's a twist. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.